Hey, Newsa-Cast listeners. Just want to give you a little information about the mission of the Newsa-Cast. Our mission stems from the mission of the Red Smith Banquet, and that mission was to support youth sports in the Fox Valley. Over the 57 years of its existence, we've been honored to give out over $1 million to various youth sports organizations throughout the Fox Valley. The Newsa-Cast is looking to continue that mission and support youth sports as well. You can help us do that by donating to the Newsa-Cast and the Red Smith Sports Banquet.
On today's Newsa-Cast, we have Matt Ten Haken from the Visitors and Convention Bureau. Tosh and I take an old look at new, which is presented by Rollie Winter. The Red Smith Banquet Throwback takes us back to 1993. And one of the all-time great college basketball coaches, Lou Carnesecca. We end the show like we always do with a little Forgetting and Forgotten. So what do you say? Let's get this show on the road.
So a Red Smith story, not with one of the speakers or one of the big names over there.
That might be the coolest story I've ever heard about Red Smith. That's incredible. I never knew that. That's absolutely wild.
Welcome to the Newsa-Cast. What is a Newsa-Cast? It's where we bring local folk stories to life through conversation.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, welcome to another episode of the fabulous Newsa-Cast, and we are we've gotten a habit here, Joe. We're going to revisit somebody.
We are, because we're fabulous, Tosh. That's why we're going to do that.
We didn't get a great chance to sit down with Matt Ten Haken from the Fox Cities Convention Bureau, but we talked about the Discovery Nights with him, and we talked with Paul McCann about Every Kid Plays grant. But now we actually get to sit down with him, hear a little bit about his story, and then also hear about just the incredible work that they do, bringing in all the teams and events, sports related to the Appleton, to the Fox Cities.
No, absolutely, Tosh. It's exactly what we were doing. And the other thing I like about it is, so we've kind of developed a little bit of a theme, I would say, maybe over the last 2 months, where we talked with Dave Willems with Mila Music and kind of what went into that, what goes into that huge event and some of the offshoot ideas of that. And then we talked with Jennifer Stefani. We talked about what was happening in downtown, Appleton, and all the events that are happening there. And of course, remember we talked with the parade guys, Otis, and kind of what went into that. And so we're doing the same thing here with Matt. We're really diving into what it does on the sports side, but overall, what does the Fox Cities Visitors and Convention Bureau does? And they bring a lot of money comes into this area because of them, and a lot of really cool events. And it was fun to talk to him and really just dive into exactly what do they do and what are some of these events. So I thought it was a really, really informative and a lot of fun. We had a good interview with Matt.
Yeah, it was a blast. I mean, hearing his background and what he went to school for and how he got here in Appleton, and then just hearing about 250 different events.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, just a crazy amount. And, we talk about the sports side, but if we also think about the money side and what that's bringing into the Fox Cities as well, it's incredible. So it's a great interview. You're going to learn a lot about what's going on in the Fox Cities.
And the other thing that we should mention, really, even right off the top. So you're right. So they bring all that money in. They give back too. So they have a lot of grants that go into building field projects. Red Smith has given, money that the both of us have worked kind of together to help field projects, scoreboards, things like that come into play. And with the Every Kid Plays grant and just the development of the fields and just the continuation of bringing the community along for the ride. It's working, yeah. Tosh. We're really, we've got something special, and I guess to steal from Jennifer Stefani, I don't know, maybe that's a little bit of that Houdini magic is sprinkled amongst all of us. Who knows?
Right, absolutely. So yeah, it'll be good. And speaking of Jennifer Stefani, what a great weekend they had for the ice festival. I don't know if you got to venture down at all, Joe.
Tosh,
but
I do. I have a story.
You do? All right.
I do. I had a wonderful time. It was, we've had a tremendous winter, but son of a gun, that wind was cold. That was the only thing that kind of stunk about it, because it really blew right down the avenue. But the sun was out, and I went down there about 1 o'clock, right around lunchtime on Saturday, and the sun was out, and those ice sculptures were just sparkling. It was a beautiful day to take pictures, and they had actually a lot of take some selfies at the down at the theater, and you could win tickets and things like that. So it was kind of cool. But my daughter Amelia and I ended up having lunch at Copper Rock. It's becoming a Newsa-Cast hangout, I must say.
Right.
But unbeknownst to us, we sat down, and this is the second time I've seen her, but this girl, her name is Lily Collins, and I've only seen her as a solo act, but we sat and watched a set. Tosh, she is so talented. It's unbelievable. Beautiful voice, but her set list blew me away. It was the Beatles. It was Fleetwood Mac. It was Bob Marley. It was, it was just stuff that we really like. She was really, really cool. I've seen her a couple of times now, and I highly, highly, highly recommend Lily. I know she's on all the social pages, and maybe we'll try to connect as a Newsa-Cast with her. But it was kind of cool. That's sort of the power of downtown. I had no idea she was playing, and we stumbled across that, and man, we had a great 1 hour set. It was awesome. Plus the food obviously is really, really good at Copper Rock.
Oh, absolutely. It was packed downtown.
Yeah.
Saturday was it was a great day. Traffic traffic jam every single block. There's tons of people out. You could people watch. It was we've had some really, those sculptures could have been done by Saturday morning the way some of the weather's been. Right. It was perfect. It was cold Friday night. Then it started to warm up a little bit, and you got that nice sun and stuff. And it was a beautiful, beautiful Saturday for the Appleton Ice Festival.
No, I agree. It's cool. I love it. There's no better feeling walking downtown than when it's busy, when it's just the sidewalks are full. And that was happening Saturday for sure. That was awesome to see.
Absolutely. And, I also, we have to give 2 shout outs to 2 wrestling state champions from the area.
Yeah.
We have Liam Crook from Kaukauna, 165. He went undefeated for the season. Congratulations to him. And also Appleton North's Jake Stoffel, 2-time state champ at 175, another undefeated season as well.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
So we talk about the content, Tosh. Check out the Newsa Minute. It dropped Mondays, usually Monday mornings. The Newsa-Cast YouTube channel, and you can get it in podcast form as well. But we specifically talk about the wrestlers and Brock Arndt to finish second for Appleton North as well. Those guys, what a career! Yeah. Both of those guys were seniors and some of the best to ever come through. Really, 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 really fun to watch.
That state wrestling championship is, as Dan Sharonbrock said, if you go back and listen to his episode, it is truly electric. It is probably one of the coolest state events that you're going to see.
It is.
So very, very cool. Happy for all of those wrestlers who made it to state and got to compete. What an honor, and what a grind for a season. Those guys put in a lot. So fantastic to see.
Yeah, they do. I mean, congrats, and that wraps up wrestling. We're right now in the thick of things with basketball. The girls are, when this comes out, they'll be into their sectionals, and the boys tournament now starts this week. So, obviously when this comes out, that'll be in full swing as well. So, yeah, the march to Madison.
Hockey state tournament is next weekend as well.
Sure.
Couple local teams as far as we're concerned. Notre Dame Academy out of Green Bay. Division I has made the state championship, and St. Mary's Springs out of Fond du Lac has also made the Division II state championship. So very cool for those. And you can check out those on your local television. They'll be playing all the championship games on Saturday.
Yeah, Tash, the March continues, right? We're heading right into March now. March Madness,
Right.
the Masters. It's starting to be a good time of year.
It is, absolutely. We have some really good basketball games, like you mentioned as well, Joe. Appleton East girls are playing Nina. They both Appleton East went to Superior on a 5-hour drive.
Wow.
And knocked off Superior, so now they get to come back home and take on Nina, which is going to be a handful. But yeah, congratulations to the Appleton East girls, and good luck to them as they take on Nina this week as well.
Was that a tournament game? Why did they go up to Superior?
Yeah,
holy cow.
That was the first round of the tournament. Yeah, so
I would say that's
the
a
first
bad draw.
few rounds. That is a bad draw. Well, yeah, and Appleton East boys are on Friday heading to Eau Claire, playing Eau Claire Memorial. So that's another 3.5-hour drive.
Wow.
So yeah, they got some tough draws, but good luck to both of them. They're both playing some good basketball right now, just like a lot of the other teams. I mean, Xavier girls are playing fantastic right now. The FVL boys are playing very well. They're a number 2 seed. So yeah, we'll have a lot of sports to talk about over the course of the next week here in the Fox Cities.
Yeah, it's nuts, Tosh. I mean, these kids are so good. These teams are so good in every sport. I mean, we rattle a lot of these schools off for each sport. Football, they're great, and volleyball, they're great, and hoops, girls, boys, whatever. It's cool to see. It's a lot of fun to watch. We say it 100 times. You see the gym lights on, the football lights on. Stop. It's going to be a good game.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I guess I need to go catch a game, and you and I. Well, before we do that, we should probably take an old look at new, you think?
That sounds like a good idea, Joe.
It's that time again, once again, for an old look at new, brought to you by Rollie Winter and Associates, celebrating 55 years. Did you know that in 1962, an Appleton junior high school teacher with a strong work ethic started a residential realty company? His name, Rollie Winter. 3 generations later, the Winters still hold true to a strong work ethic and an excellent reputation in the community. Today, Rollie Winter and Associates remain actively involved in providing retail, office, and industrial users an affordable, well-designed working environment through the creation and/or acquisition of quality real estate in the Fox Cities and even beyond new. So what do you say? Let's take an old look at new.
It is time for that look at history. Here in Northeast Wisconsin, we're Wisconsiners. Sometimes we venture out, but we try to stick around and see what's happening, at least here in the States. So, Joe, what do you have for an old look at new this week?
Well, Tosh, I think I accomplished the mission of taking a look at something here in northeastern Wisconsin, and it stemmed from the conversation that we're going to hear from Matt Ten Haken from the Visitors and Convention Bureau, and we were just talking about tourism, and one of the things we mentioned was how important the airport was, and we all, it has a big expansion going on right now. We all fly in and out of there, and we've noticed a lot of planes coming in there, but if you go back to 1963, Tosh, there was no airport out there. There was nothing out there. It was just farm fields. And
wow,
it's unreal. I have a trusty old history book of the Fox Cities, and they have a page dedicated to Air Wisconsin. And that was, I guess I didn't realize this story, but that was basically Houdini magic, Tash, I think is what it was. It was, again, local citizens, local community leaders stepping up because there was no airline service. The Republic Airlines was here. They pulled out service and they needed service, or they felt that they needed service to the Fox Cities. And 1963, they started what was called the Fox Cities Airlines Incorporated. And that turned into Air Wisconsin. So in 1965, August 23rd, 1965, Air Wisconsin took off for the very first time. So, yeah, that's when it was born, and then the rest was history. You know, that connected us to Chicago, and now look at that airport. It's incredible to see the flights, and Allegiant flies in. I don't know how many times a day, and it's really cool to see. So, yeah, Air Wisconsin back.
Nice airport.
Yeah, that's a little look at new, and thank you to Matt for triggering that idea. But Tosh, how about you? What are you taking a look at?
Well, it's Milwaukee. I know it's an hour and a half, 2 hours away, but it does have ties back up here to Oshkosh now with the Wisconsin Herd. But March 1st, 1985, Herb Cole purchased Milwaukee Bucks for $18 million. That was it, $18 million, which is absolutely crazy that in 1985, even think in 1985 that the Bucks were only worth $18 million.
Right.
I mean, that's incredible that a professional sports team was only worth that much. So he sold the Bucks in 2013 for $550 million. So he did pretty well with his investment.
Yeah.
and you know what? Herb Cole was incredible. I mean, he kept the Bucks in Milwaukee by selling them, put another $200 million of his old money into the Pfizer Forum.
Yeah.
Now we just lost him recently, but just a great human being, did a lot for our states.
Oh, he really did.
And you know, and obviously for the Bucks included.
Yeah, I mean, what a guy. He's been to the Red Smith Banquet before. You know, we've had him up here, so yeah. I mean, the guy. I mean, we all know what Coles is. You know, to be a you know, to run that, to grow that, and then to give back like he did. I mean, he didn't need to be a congressman, but you know, and he put in his time to do that, and you know, sure, it's a good investment to own an NBA team, but you don't necessarily have to do that and fight to build new arenas and things like that. He did all of that. Right. So yeah, that's pretty cool, Tosh, and yeah, somebody that should be admired for sure.
Well, that was great. That was an excellent old look at new. And if you like these segments, please make sure you subscribe any place you get your podcasts. And also don't be afraid to check out YouTube.
Yes.
And hit subscribe there as well and share it with your friends. We actually get to sit down with Matt Ten Haken from the Fox Cities Convention Bureau, hear about, you know, just the incredible work that they do, bringing in all the teams and events, sports related to the Fox Cities.
Yeah, cool. How you doing? Everything going well?
Really good. Enjoying this spring weather. Ready for summer to be here. Probably next week, right? we're gonna get hit by winter. It's gonna come, and we're all gonna complain. But I'll take it when I can in mid to late February. This is awesome.
My fear, though, it's going to come in like April or May.
Probably.
Yeah. I stopped planning outdoor events for April. It's just so unpredictable. It can be 80 degrees. It can be 20 degrees. And it's just, you never know.
That's interesting because I'm trying to remember back to the soccer days, right? Even Memorial Day weekend. I mean, that's always seems to be like a great unknown weekend too. That can sometimes be really nice, but I feel like more times than not, it's just raining.
Yeah, usually it's 60 and rainy on Memorial Day. I think that's the way it normally goes. But yeah, for years, our first soccer tournament was the last weekend of April, and after a number of cancellations, that's gone away. Now I think our first real outdoor tournament is the Nina tournament. The second weekend of May is usually our first real outdoor tournament now.
So if you look at a calendar, like what's the outdoor season, what's the indoor season? Is the indoor season longer than the outdoor season?
Indoors 365 days a year now. Like there's no break in the indoor season. Yeah. The sports seasons just blend together, and we're running indoor events all year long, where outdoor is May 1 to October 31st, basically.
Okay. Well, I guess I should have known that, but that is sort of eye-opening. So, I mean, obviously the Champions Center, that thing, Right. So they're playing basketball, volleyball predominantly. Are those really the driving sports that go year round like that?
If you're an elite level volleyball player, you are playing high school. You're doing some tournaments in high school in mid July already.
Yeah.
Summer ball, and then your practices start August. If you go to state, you're playing till the first week of November.
Right.
You're doing tryouts for your club team the second or third weekend of November. Your club season starts basically right after Thanksgiving, and some of those club teams are now the USA Volleyball Championships this year, I think, is mid-July. So it's basically a 12-month a year sport now for high-level club volleyball.
I think we're seeing that with almost all the sports too. If you're at that highest level, you're playing year round, and whether it's hockey, whether it's even to a point lacrosse now as well. It's just everything's getting to that point where you need those indoor facilities so that you can attract those teams to come to you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's. I'm a basketball coach. Part of me wants to say it's great that kids are playing a lot, but it has to come within reason. I feel like some sports, those natural just breaks that the kids have aren't there anymore. And especially, I get it for some kids, when they get to, high school or to get to sophomore, junior year. By then they know their sport. Maybe there's the one sport that's just right for that kid, and they love it and they want to do it and really focus on it. But it's creeping down now, that specialization that kids are just doing one sport now at a younger age, and I don't think that's entirely healthy for them with the wear and tear on their body, especially if we're going 12 months out of the year.
Hey Matt, are you coaching your girls? Are you a coach?
Yeah, I coach my daughter's third grade Nina basketball team.
Right. How is that? How do you like that experience?
It's really fun. There's 20 girls on the team, so we all practice together. We have 5 coaches, so it makes it a little bit easier to manage that amount of energy. And then we divide up the teams evenly for our tournaments. Our last tournament is in Little Chute on Saturday. But it's just a really fun experience and a lot of really good kids.
Are there enough coaches at that level? Are you seeing, or do parents really have to step up? Was that out of love? I'm sure it was out of love on your part, but I mean, is it tough to fill all the slots?
For us, it wasn't really that hard. I think we're pretty fortunate. We have a good group of families that a lot of coaching experience in those with those kids' parents. Not all necessarily in basketball, but other sports and understanding the basics of coaching youth sports, and so it's all there. Yeah, the bigger problem that I see with there's a lot of parents that do want to coach, but they have 3 kids that are in sports right now, and they're trying to orchestrate. One's got practice at 6:00 on Tuesday, one's got practice at 6:30, and others got practice at 7. And who's doing pickup and drop offs? And we can't coach. We have to Uber for our children. So
yeah, it really is. I remember those days well. I know, Tosh, you have those. That's a huge issue. You're right. I can see how that affects the coaching. Do you plan then? Do you plan to coach them through a certain grade? Several years, be kind of their coach in basketball.
As of right now, that's my hope. Yeah, as long as my daughter still will have me and not be super annoyed by me. I'll keep on doing as long as she wants me to do it. It's really fun, and I think we got a good team that we can really come together and do some really good things in the future. But right now, it's just basically learning the basics of the sport.
That's the age that you bring that up. It's learning the basics, and it's fun to coach that. I got to the point with baseball with my sons, and I knew I couldn't coach them anymore. They needed to hear somebody else. But that age is so much fun because it is about just the love of the game and learning how to play and just having a good time. You don't have quite that pressure on that age group, which is great.
Yeah, you get into a competition setting and naturally you just want to win. And, I'm sitting there like, do I run a pick and roll right now and get some buckets? Or do I scheme something up and try to get some extra points, or what am I focusing on, in practice? Do I focus on plays and trying to get some quick buckets with plays in practice and really work on that, or do I spend time working on the mechanics of shooting and basics of defense? So we try to kind of set them up for the future and teach them the basics so that when we do get to that more competitive point down the road, that they are ready to focus on competing at a higher level. So right now we're taking a few more losses than I would want, but that's okay. I think the wins will come in the future, so I'll be all right.
Do you have a background? I know we talked earlier in one of the podcasts, but is your growing up, were you a basketball player in like elementary, middle, and high school? Was that your sport?
Yeah, basketball was my main sport.
Okay.
I played probably first grade through high school, and then I played 2 years at UB Sheboygan. So
All right.
played quite a bit of basketball. I played football in high school. I played baseball up until ninth grade. I played golf in high school. Actually, at UB Sheboygan, they needed people on the tennis team, and my buddy on the basketball team and I were shooting around the gym in the spring, and the coach came and was like, guys, we need 2 more players to do 5th and 6th singles. Do you want to be on the tennis team? I'm like, I haven't played tennis since gym class in high school. I have no clue what I'm doing. But I was a college tennis player, I guess. So
there you go.
Yeah, no big deal, right?
Yeah, so a little bit of everything. Just had an incredible love for sports, and all that comes with it is have so many great memories and learn so many main things that I still carry with me today in everything I do in life. So pursuing a career in sports was something that really excited me and has been a great now 20 plus year career.
Yeah, Tosh was right. We had you on. Yeah, I think you were probably, well, it was right around that Discovery night, which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So people go back and listen to that. You'll learn a lot about kind of what you do, but we didn't dive into where Tosh is diving into about kind of what you're UW Sheboygan. You love sports. Do you see yourself? I mean, there's a lot of different directions in sports you can go. You're in a pretty awesome spot, I think, and a really cool job. I mean, is that something you were seeking out, like in a convention bureau like you do, or were you thinking, like the minor league baseball route, something like that? I mean, how do you decide what to do in sports?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was never seeking out this position, and honestly, the world of sports tourism, convention and visitors bureaus, the business of youth sports was something I really didn't know existed in college, and really has blown up in the last 10, 15, 20 years as tournament play and travel sports have just increased so much. When I was in college at lacrosse, getting my undergrad degree in sport management, I, like probably a lot of my classmates and probably a lot of people that are interested in sports, automatically gravitated towards the highest levels. So I want to be in pro sports. I want to work at a Division I college. I want to work for the Packers or the Lakers or the Cowboys. I want to work for the best teams. I want to be the general manager. I want to be the best. Well, as my classes went on and as I got more volunteer experience, as I got more understanding of the landscape of sports, I realized that a kid from Sheboygan Falls and went to lacrosse with no experience in pro sports, graduating college, probably has got a long shot to start working in professional sports. So while I was at lacrosse, I had the fortunate experience to intern with the athletic department and gain a lot of really good experience doing a variety of tasks and really fueled my love for small college athletics. And I was able to turn that into a semester-long internship with the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, the Division III conference in Minnesota, with 13 private colleges. At the time, St. Thomas was in the conference. Now they've gone Division I, but Augsburg, Bethel, St. Olaf, number of great universities, St. John's. all are in that conference. And I spent 6 years being assistant commissioner after my internship in that conference, and really had a terrific experience learning all about college athletics, not only Division III, but all levels, and then making a lot of great connections and had a great experience there. It came in 2010 to 2009 that was ready to move back closer to home. My wife and I wanted to start a family, so we started looking for positions in eastern Wisconsin, and was fortunate enough to come across the position at the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and was able to land that position in June of 2010. So I'm closing in on 14 years here, working here in Appleton and promoting all that is sports in the Fox Cities.
Was that a relatively new position at that time, or was that kind of an established position?
Someone was in that position, maybe not 100% full-time, maybe like split between convention sales or some other marketing roles. But someone was in that position since 2001. The Fox Cities Convention and Visitors Bureau was actually the first organization in the state of Wisconsin to have a full-time dedicated sports person to work in the sports market. So a few guys had that position before me, before I came on in 2010.
You almost came, you came on just about at the perfect time, didn't you? I mean, you were able to, kind of sounds like you probably developed the position more or less, but right at the absolute perfect time as travel ball and youth sports just absolutely exploded. And then the facilities followed behind that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very fortunate time. You're absolutely right. When I started my first year, we hosted 120 events that brought visitors to the area in the Fox Cities.
Wow.
In 2023, we hosted 240. So we doubled it. In 14 years, we've doubled it. Mainly because of, like you said, the explosion of interest in youth sports and some really great facilities that facilitate us to have the opportunity to host these events.
Can that 240 number, is that pretty much the max, would you say, or is there room to grow that with the current state, say, of facilities, or do we need to take maybe another step to grow whatever facility?
Yeah, we'll be able to increase that a little bit this year and in 2025. We do a lot of work a year or two in the future, so I think we'll grow that number a little bit, but not a lot. A couple of reasons. One, there's only so many weekends of the year where teams are traveling and playing in tournaments for whatever venue it is. But two, if it's a locally hosted tournament, the volunteers that are needed to host those events is just such a big lift, and we can't really be asking volunteers to work every weekend and host tournaments, so it's not realistic. I was able to volunteer at the Neenah Middle School last weekend. We hosted the 5th grade girls state basketball championship and had 34 teams, massive event, really cool event, really intense competition, a lot of good teams, big crowds, but every single parent who has a child in the 3rd through 12th grade Neenah girls basketball program had to volunteer a shift. So you're asking every single parent to put 2 to 3 hours in on a Saturday or Sunday to help out with this massive event. It's a great fundraiser for the program, but to think that Neenah Girls Hoops Club could do that more than a few times a year is just unrealistic. So, we're going to cap out and plateau our numbers in the very near future.
Was that event held at the new high school?
No, it's actually at the middle school.
Oh, wow. Oh, nice. Yeah. So then I'm assuming a lot of those families are staying in hotels too. They're coming from all over the state to play.
Yeah, quite a few. Yeah, every corner of the state we had teams coming in from. So really good hotel pickup.
What is this? I guess, what is the overall state of hotels? I mean, you pretty pleased? Are the hoteliers, I don't know what the right term is, but I mean, are the hotel rooms being filled, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask.
You're right. You got the lingo down. Hoteliers. Perfect.
Cool.
You got it.
I'm hip.
For the most part, our hotels are doing well. We do have opportunity to increase our occupancy a little bit. We want to raise that up a little bit. The average nightly rate is quite strong still. Inflation really bumped that up and it's kind of stabilized, but it's still pretty high. So the revenue that the hotels are generating is very positive. I think the weekday travel, post-COVID still isn't picked up to where it was pre-COVID. So those business travelers aren't traveling in the volume that they have in the past. So that's impacting our, Sunday night through Thursday night stays. We really, for sports, we really can only do, for the most part, Friday and Saturday night pickups. And for most every weekend, we're doing pretty well with filling a good number of our hotel rooms. But then again, we have 3,600 hotel rooms in the Fox cities. Some of those properties aren't really what a lot of our traveling teams are looking for. So that's a percentage that we really don't utilize in. And then even at some of the properties that we do utilize, they only have so many rooms with 2 beds. Right. So usually, a quarter or a third of their hotel has rooms with 1 bed in it. And our teams usually don't utilize those unless grandma and grandpa is staying at the hotel with them. We do our best to fill all those rooms that our teams would want.
So looking ahead to 2025 in the NFL draft, how is that going to be for you guys? I mean, I would assume that you're looking at pretty much occupancy here in the Fox Valley is going to be pretty tight.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I love the NFL draft, and, been following it for years. And, think about, if I was going to another city for the draft, my guys and I hopped in the car and we drove to wherever we're going, flew. We probably would come in Wednesday, experience the city, do the NFL experience stuff. Thursday's a big night, right? You got to be there Thursday. Friday, second and third round picks are more valuable than ever, and you're probably going to watch and be there for all that. Then Saturday, I think it's going to die down a little bit with the diehards, but the more local families will come and experience it, assuming the weather is nice. It's outdoors, which I'm assuming a good portion of it would be. So I think a lot of, in terms of hotels, our pickup's going to be super strong that week with media and those fans traveling in, earlier in the week. Will we be sold out on Saturday and Sunday? Maybe not, but we're already making plans. Like we've moved some of our events around that, the Champion Center, last weekend of August is a really good travel basketball weekend. We're going to host an event with more local teams that weekend, so we don't fill up the hotel rooms. And, we're already planning out, what the impact of that event's going to be. And it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Yeah. Hopefully I can get there and experience a little bit, but it's going to be really fun.
Is there going to be any events? Do you know of is it going to stretch down to the Fox Valley? Is there going to be any kind of...
I haven't heard of anything happening in the Fox Valley. I would assume that some of the smart restaurant and bar owners would have some parties and do some shuttle buses, from their establishment to the area. But I believe the footprint that they're going to use in Green Bay is going to be massive, like Cabela's to Tundraland, or Tundra Lodge.
Wow.
Massive. That's going to be the area where they have all the stuff going on. So it's going to be a big event.
And, for us here in the Fox Valley, it's a 25-minute drive. And I think people don't realize that, when you're talking Kansas City, you were driving 45 minutes staying that far outside of the city to get into the draft. So we're a pretty close destination, a pretty close, tight area that it's not a bad drive for people to get to.
No, I'm definitely going to take the country roads through Freedom to get there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take 41, but yeah, it's going to be really convenient for us.
Matt, I was going to ask you, and this is out of your domain, I'm a little bit, like all the Allegiant flights, they're obviously leaving the Fox Cities going somewhere. But are we bringing anybody, like, say, from Nashville, or are people coming here, I guess, on those flights specifically, the other way, the reverse way, to come and visit us?
Yeah, they are. There's a handful of teams that have competed in the Fox Cities that have used, ATW for events to come here. A lot of our, we had a World Axe and Knife Throwing. A lot of those folks flew in on a number of those flights. So definitely benefiting from the success that ATW has had. They are a fantastic partner of ours, and hopefully they keep on adding more flights so we can keep on bringing more people in, and then all of us can go to our favorite destinations.
It's been fun to watch that airport grow. This will tell you how old I am. I can remember my dad bringing me out when I was, 7, 8 years old in the 70s. You could literally walk out and walk right up into the airplane, at night after they're parked there, and they would go out the next morning. You could just walk into the airplane and look, and then just leave. And to see what it's growing to now, and the expansion that's going on, it really is pretty cool. It's kind of neat to see. So I agree.
Yeah,
it's a nice
I
airport.
love flying out of ATW. The worst thing about it, I usually fly 5 or 6 times a year for going to trade shows or events around the country. And I like to take the morning flights out and can get there like half an hour before your flight leaves and scoot through security and get to the gate on time. But then I get this mindset of, I don't have to get to the airport very early. And on my way back, I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm in Dallas. I have to get there more than half an hour early. Otherwise, I'm not going to get on my flight.
Tosh, we found some hidden gems. I think ATW definitely is a hidden gem for sure. So Matt, you mentioned that axe and knife throwing. I know you told a little bit about the story early, in one of our first podcasts, but that's an awesome event. Jennifer Stefani was on. She mentioned it. She stumbled across it. I mean, what a thing to stumble into downtown. And they're coming back, right? I think, or is that event?
Yeah. We're working on the final details to bring them back in April of 2025. So the World Championship again on ESPN again. So we're really excited to keep on working with them. Awesome group of people. Like, you have your mindset of big dude with a beard and flannel and tattoos everywhere. But the guy who won the U.S. Open this year was maybe 140, 23 years old, California kid. It's all walks of life with axe throwing. And that's what makes it so cool that, we have these people from around the country, around the world coming to Appleton. They're there for the competition. They want to throw well. They take it very seriously. But when they're done throwing, they want to experience all that we have, and they experience everything that we had. They went everywhere, museums. They told us about museums they went to, everything they ate, going to the comedy club, going to the Skyline. Like, it was such a perfect tourism event for us to be able to sit and watch them throw axes, but then they come up to us and say, where's the best breakfast place in town? Tell me your favorite place for breakfast. And then they would come back and report back like, the Eggs Benedict was so good. Like, it's so
right.
It's so fun to hear the stories that they have and the experiences that they have in Appleton. So those are that makes the job really rewarding, hearing things like that.
Oh yeah. When is the potential one, or the next one? When can we expect that?
April of 2025.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. April of 2025. I'm definitely going to check that out.
Excellent.
And those guys, they just stay right downtown, walk over to the convention center and chuck axes and knives?
Yeah, I think they pretty much sell out the Paper Valley, and then they stay, at hotels around the area too, a smattering around the area. Some have a group of throwers that they stay together and they get an Airbnb, and they're all over town.
I forgot to ask Jennifer this question, but I wanted to ask you: do you envision another hotel downtown, say in the next 10 years or something? Maybe less.
I've never thought about that. I don't know where it would go. Probably on the north side of College, I guess. I think it could be successful. I really like the Courtyard by Marriott along the river. That's a beautiful property,
that's a great hotel.
Location. Anything we can do to accentuate the river, because it's just kind of hard to get down there sometimes, and a lot of old buildings along the riverfront. I think whatever we can do to highlight the riverfront is good. I honestly have never thought much about having more hotels downtown.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm a letter carrier. You think of these things as you walk through town. But,
so are there any other events maybe coming up this summer that you're excited about and you're looking forward to?
Yeah, so like every weekend we have events going on. There isn't a weekend that we have off, so it's really fortunate that we can have something to really highlight or talk about for every single weekend of the year.
Wow.
The one that's coming up that I'm excited that we haven't hosted before. I'm excited to see how it turns out. We're hosting the Badger Region Volleyball 11 and 12-year-old state championships.
Oh.
So it's the first 2 years of club volleyball for these kids. So they're just starting out.
Okay.
We have 104 teams coming to the Champion Center the second weekend of August. We're going to use 13 courts. It's going to be so many people in there. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be maybe the biggest hotel generator event that we've had at the Champion Center.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot of volleyball in 2 days, and a lot of families coming to town. So we're excited to see how that one goes. That, if it goes well, has the potential to lead to more, volleyball at that level, kind of the state championship club volleyball level events in the future for us. And that would be a great thing to have, because our March, like I said, March and April, we're still focusing on our indoor stuff. We can't really do outdoor yet. So anything we can do to really beef up our March and April weekends, we're always searching for those right events.
When we had you on, I went back and listened to the episode because I'd forgotten what we talked about, and Paul McCann threw this out here, and specifically to the Champion Center, and you might have expanded on a little bit, but I mean the expansion of the Champion Center, is that something that you're really looking to do? I mean, it seems like there's it would be great to double its size. I'm sure, at least the hardwood.
Yeah. That's something we are seriously going after right now. We want to add 4 more basketball courts or 8 more volleyball courts, make the Champion Center the destination in the Midwest for sure, one of the top ones in the country for not only court sports but ice sports as well. And the way we can do that with the expansion is, we would have 16 permanent volleyball courts with that addition. And that would allow us to keep the current field house and the addition running volleyball really through March into April, maybe even May. Then we can keep our seasonal arena ice longer and put the seasonal arena ice in earlier in October. So the timing of keeping the courts in the seasonal arena really shrinks down just a few months where hockey really isn't, in too much demand, but travel basketball is. So, even though we'd be adding the court sports, the the ice sports would benefit from it as well. And I think we could just take the experience and the opportunity for economic impact and community well-being to just a whole nother level. So we've gone pretty far in the thoughts of trying to get grants and fundraising dollars to get that expansion going. And we've got the drawings, we have the plans, or we're close. So we're hopeful that in 2024 that that becomes a reality.
Boy, that'd be incredible. When you talk about it as a destination, especially for volleyball, I think about, my son's played. I one that played travel soccer, one that played travel lacrosse. So we would find ourselves once or twice a year down in Indiana at the Grand Park Complex. To me, just the most incredible sports camp complex in the nation that I've seen is that place. It's just unbelievable. But I remember when it started from nothing, there was maybe one or two hotels around there to what it is out now. I haven't been down there in a while, but I have buddies that have kids that are, going down there for volleyball, and they're telling me stories of just the expansion. And it's a real thing that if the Fox Cities became a volleyball destination, I think the explosion is real. You can see that happening over the years in different parts of the country.
Yeah, there's some communities that are just natural tourism destinations that have venues that are similar. Myrtle Beach and Gatlinburg, Tennessee have really nice indoor facilities. Those are already, Wisconsin Dells type communities that are bringing in visitors. But then you have like Westfield, Indiana. Like you would have never stepped foot in Westfield, Indiana, if it wasn't for Grand Park. But
it was corn. It was nothing but corn.
Yeah, it's super flat. There's nothing there. But they're on the northern tip of the Indianapolis suburbs and fairly affluent communities around them. And their mayor back in the day had really a brilliant mindset of trying to draw these families to their community to develop their economy, and they've done a fantastic job with it. Not only do they have 1 million outdoor fields and I think it's 3 full-size soccer fields under one roof, which is just ridiculous. They have an 8-court basketball facility there too that hosts Nike EYBL tournaments and Under Armour circuit tournaments all summer long. So they do fantastic work.
That's what makes your job so fascinating. I mean, boy, you just have to be, the mouth has to be watering if this goes through and you have that type of facility. One, I mean, it's beautiful. We discovered that at Discovery Night. Champion Center is incredible. It's a first class facility. And to be able to add on to that, it's just it's that's a hidden gem as well, Tosh. We're discovering things.
So I guess a question for you is, how do you sell the Fox Cities when you're competing with places like that, for instance?
Yeah, so we go to 5 or 6 trade shows a year, and we have speed dates. So I'm doing one first weekend in April in Las Vegas. I'll have 40 10-minute meetings over the course of 2.5 days. My brain will be absolutely scrambled eggs when I leave there because it's a meeting with USA Hockey, then a meeting with a group that does triathlons, then a meeting with a group that does travel baseball, then a meeting in a group that does volleyball, and just back to back to back to back, trying to keep them right and talking about different things every time. And what I always try to hit on with selling the Fox Cities is we are the perfect community for you to bring your young children to compete.
Right.
We are safe. We are affordable. We are easy to get around.
Yeah.
We don't have massive water parks, but we also don't have super high prices. We don't have skyscrapers, but we don't have really horrible crime or snarling traffic. So that's the sell. It's nothing flashy. Yeah. It's what many families want now. If someone says my 12-year-old is the best figure skater in the country, I need to go to this competition. If we're going to host that competition, your focus is going to be on this event. We'll give you a great hotel room. You can eat anything you can think of. Your focus is on this competition, and we know that. When you're done, there's plenty of things for you to do and eat and explore, but our community is set up very well, that we have great facilities for whatever you want to compete at, and we have the amenities to make your experience, your stay here comfortable. So the sell isn't very flashy. We're not selling water parks or skyscrapers, but we're selling a great family experience.
Hey, Newsa-Cast listeners, you can find every episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Please help us grow by subscribing or sharing the Newsa-Cast with friends, or follow us on Facebook, X, TikTok, or Instagram. I should have mentioned this. I mean, you're the sports. We're talking all sports, but I mean, you guys at the Convention Bureau as a whole do a heck of a lot more than just sports to bring people here and conventions here. I mean, how is the convention picking up since COVID now? A couple of years since COVID, are the numbers, are they stronger? Are they going up? What is
definitely growing? Good. The convention seasons are kind of seasonal. They really hit it hard in the fall and the spring, not so much in the summer or over the holidays, but it's definitely picking back up again. We got 2 full-time staff members that are focused on conventions, so they're doing good. So we have 9 in our office now. Myself and Abby McDaniel is our sports marketing manager. We focus on sports. At 2 in convention, we have 2 that are marketing, leisure travel, social media. And then we have a kind of visitor center, a little bit of jack of all trades person, the finance director, and our executive director, Pam Seidel. So we have a really good team. We do a lot of work for having 9 people in the office.
Oh gosh, yeah. You guys really do. The social is interesting, isn't it? In your 14 years, that's really changed, hasn't it? Just that whole aspect and how you attract people, and it's a whole new world.
It is a whole new world, and it's really hard to keep up with. And I don't spend much time trying to keep up with it, but I know that it's a significant amount of the work that we're putting into there, because it's so important.
Yeah.
If you can do that and do that well, boy, but you can reap the rewards for sure.
Yeah, we're trying to tell our story to anyone and everyone. What's the avenue that you do that? Is it, newspapers or the radio or magazines or websites or social media or TV? Like, there's so many different places to go, and social media is now, pushed its way to the forefront of being a great way to tell our story to many, many people for a very affordable price.
Yeah, no, your website I go on your website all the time if I'm looking for something to do in the Fox Cities, that's the website I go to just to look. And there's a lot to do.
Yeah, what's going on this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love that for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I mean, we obviously should be playing in the snow, but there's a lot of great, the trail systems over the 14 years you've been here, the biking. I've told that story a million times, but I mean, biking around here is so much improved in 14 years as well. Trestle bridges.
The trail network has really, really joined together very nicely. There was a smattering of trails all over the place, and they've done a really conscientious effort of connecting those trails and making it so much nicer and scenic for bikers, runners, walkers.
Yeah, it's great for us as residents. Is that something where people would come and stay? And I mean, there would be enough to do. I mean, I would think there's enough to do in the Fox Cities if you're a biker to bike, and enough restaurants and enough water space, and downtown Neenah, downtown Appleton, places like that. B&Bs to stay. I would think it is a nice weekend to come here and do those kind of activities.
Yeah, definitely something we promote. That it's easy to get on all our trails through the area, and then whatever it is you may enjoy doing when you're done on the trails, we have it for you in great supply in a short distance, and definitely a story that we tell through all our channels.
So we had Jennifer Stefani on. We talked to Dave Willems. Those are big events that they kind of work, together with each other. You bring events to the Paper Valley and the convention center down there. Are you guys all kind of woven together? Do you work together pretty closely with ADI and with Mile of Music during that time of year, helping each other out?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those are great partners of ours. Dave and Jennifer are incredible people. I helped Dave launch Bike to the Beat back in the day before it was called Bike to the Beat. We're trying to.
I did that this past year and I loved it.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah,
it was good.
We're trying to get a adult volleyball tournament off the ground for Mile of Music weekend this year at the Champion Center. We want to do alumni tournament, so you can play with your high school team or your club team and play in a tournament against other alums. So for the post-college crowd, that they can play in a tournament from, say, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the Saturday of Mile of Music, and then they can go out and explore Mile of Music afterwards. So we're just putting the finishing touches on that one, trying to get that set and launch that in the next couple of days. So that's exciting, and hopefully will lead to big things in the future too.
We kind of asked you this before, and I don't know, just a weird, curious question that I always have. Like, how do these ideas come to you just to put these events together? Do you guys sit in a room and just brainstorm? Do you, I don't know, sit in the shower and have an event pop in your head? I mean, how do they pop out? How do the, then just, how do you apply it and just make it happen or get it out of your head and make it real?
There's a variety of ways. I don't know. I'm just always like exploring what other people are doing, but then also like I can't shut my brain off, and so I'll think of these things at 9 o'clock tonight, and I'll come up with some idea and start sketching things out and just bring all the pieces together. And for every event that does come together and work out well, there's just as many that happen one year and fail, or they never even come to fruition because of whatever reason. So, it's a lot of trial and error, variety of ways. There's no magic formula.
That's kind of the best part of the job, though, isn't it? That's the rush, isn't it? That ride, whatever that is, I don't know, but just getting an idea, just morphing it out of your head, and it's just, holy cow, axe throwing's here, on ESPN.
Yeah, honestly, that's the way the Champion Center came about. It wasn't that, there was some like grand plan put in front of us, like you have to do the Champion Center like this. It was like, I think we can do this, and let's put all these heads together and let's see what we can come up with. And it was just kind of an idea that led to a lot of other ideas and a lot of work, but a lot of benefit too.
You're on the Newsa-Cast after all. I mean, Tosh and I are just that's exactly what we did. We have no idea what we're doing, but we thought, hey, it's kind of a cool idea. Let's do it. Red Smith's been around for a long time. You guys have been forever. You guys bought tables at the Red Smith Banquet. I remember that for forever. You were huge supporters of the banquet. So thank you from that standpoint. That was always great.
So a Red Smith story, not with one of the speakers or one of the big names that were there, but it was probably 2015, 2016. We had our table next to Boots Chiropractic's table. And Dennis Smits from Kaukauna High School was there as a guest with the Boots. And he started talking to someone at our table, and they leaned over and said, I think it was Jay Parrish from Appleton Trophy. And Jay was talking to Dennis, and Jay's like, Matt, you got to talk to Dennis. He's into powerlifting and they want to do events. I'm like, all right, let's go. So had a meeting with Dennis. 2 years later, we're hosting the high school national powerlifting championship. The exhibition center opens, and we posted the state high school powerlifting championship. I think every year that's been open. That's coming up next weekend.
Okay.
Dennis has taken a step back. There's a new group of powerlifting folks. Joe Lewis from Neenah, who is a legend in the powerlifting community, is still around. But Quentin Meyer, who is with USA Limitless, he's a powerlifter. He's hosting a number of events at his own gym, but he's going to host a regional powerlifting championship at the exhibition center in June. And he's going to host the high school national championship again in March of 2025. So the one conversation at the Red Smith Banquet has now led to 10 plus events, literally millions of dollars coming into the Appleton community because of what you guys did with Red Smith.
That might be the coolest story I've ever heard about Red Smith. That's incredible. I honestly never knew that. That's absolutely wild.
Yeah. Just getting people in a room, just relaxing and talking and opening up seems to always lead to something.
Yeah.
It's weird. That's what I think about all the time with this. When you just have conversation and people you reminisce and you talk about just different things that are interesting in the community. I just feel like it's just, I don't know, relaxed, natural conversation. It's truly amazing either what you learn or what comes out of it.
So whatever we can do to facilitate, those conversations, it doesn't have to be us three talking, but if you know someone and I know someone and say, you guys should talk because you both have a lot in common, you never know that can come. So maybe you can make a Newsa-Cast happy hour. We can all get together.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, we like happy hours. Tosh.
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
leave the beer selection. Yeah, so many great restaurants.
You talked about a little bit about some of this. Is there anything else coming up this summer? Events that you're, might be new or that the listeners can be excited about as well?
The thing is, we do 240 events a year, but so many of them are reoccurring, and so many of them are youth sports focused that they're not usually big time spectator events.
Okay.
We are hosting from January 20th to I think the second weekend of May, I think Mother's Day weekend, every weekend except for Easter, the state bowling championship. So we have 10,000 bowlers from the state of Wisconsin coming to bowl at either Super Bowl in Appleton or Rolling Thunder in Neenah.
Sure.
So every weekend there's a new group of bowlers coming in, and they're competing for thousands of dollars in cash and prizes with their competition. So really fun event, really good people running that event, and a lot of fun. They like the axe throwers. There's a lot of similarities between the axe throwers and the bowlers, that they want to compete and they want to be successful, but they also like to have a good time too while they're here.
Well, that's good.
Matt, Chris Winter, who's Chris, part of our Red Smith Newsa group. His son Luke is an incredible bowler. He's on one of the top bowlers at Whitewater, but he came up through this program. He would have bowled in this thing, a couple of years ago, but that whole world, Chris, opened my eyes to. It's absolutely incredible, the competition, but what those kids play for. I mean, college money they're basically playing for, and just the size and scope of this, and then just how good these kids are. But I mean, they're filling hotel rooms, they're filling bowling alleys. That's a big time group coming through.
Yeah, especially in Wisconsin. The state bowling tournament in Wisconsin is the largest in the country by a long shot. So bowling is still a really big deal in Wisconsin. And you're absolutely right. the scholarship dollars that kids can win for bowling or just participating in bowling, not even being the best in bowling, just participating, is very significant. So definitely a lot of opportunities in the bowling world.
Do you have, obviously besides the Champion Center, do you have just kind of a wish list for the Fox Cities? If you could add a magic wand to say, Fox Cities needs this and this, 2 or 3 things, or what would be on your wish list that if you could have anything?
Yeah, so turf fields is an interesting one. Obviously, with extending the season, artificial turf helps tremendously, whether it's baseball, softball, soccer, football, lacrosse fields, with artificial turf. But then there's groups like FIFA and other groups that prefer to play on natural grass. So kind of torn on what, the long-term solution is for the best, field programs. But I think we need more fields. I think we need more fields of diamonds and rectangles. And whether they're artificial turf or really good natural grass, I think we need to figure out a way to get some more complexes up and out of the ground. Indoor turf is still definitely a need and opportunity for us. It's a tough business to make work. Would love to see a municipality, a high school, someone support indoor facility with turf for the community to use. And then I think we could definitely use a really high-end swimming facility. I think swimming is underserved, not only from the competition standpoint, but from just a recreational standpoint. We have obviously a great YMCA structure here in the Fox Cities, but I think there's still so much more demand for aquatics and opportunity for aquatics to do large competitions. There's a facility in Brown Deer that is good. I would say not great, but they do a ton of swim meets. Pleasant Prairie down by Kenosha has a nice facility. They do some really big meets, but there isn't a ton of great aquatics facilities in the state, the Midwest, and the country. They're very expensive to run, but if I could have a magic bucket of money to build something and operate something, I definitely think aquatics and swimming and diving could be a great opportunity for the community.
How would a successful one, it's a tough word to say, how would that run? How would that look? I mean, how would that be feasible?
The majority of the best ones are on college campuses. Okay. Just thinking about my experience at the University of Minnesota, they have a fantastic facility that's in the footprint of their old football stadium. That's a top-notch facility run by staff of the university, but they host youth, high school, collegiate meets the majority of the year.
Hey, you're right with turf. I know you and I have talked about that over the years, and hey, you see the success of the Champion Center in the indoor, and it makes sense to have indoor turf. But you're right. What do you do in the summer? Who's playing there? What do you do?
Would use it. It would just be really a tough business model for any nonprofit or for-profit to operate. It really has to operate, with some sort of municipal governmental subsidy to be successful in my mind, or a really generous donor. It's just a really tough business because right now it's, February, it would be going very, very strong, but if it is 50 for the next couple of days, people are going to start kicking a soccer ball around outside and not renting time at your indoor facility. So it's a really tough business to be successful.
How is that Brookfield one? I remember going down there. They had it felt like they were always struggling, but it was kind of a nice facility. I like the layout. Are they still there? Are they going okay? Or
Last I heard, they were. I haven't heard from them in a long time, though, so I'm not sure. I think what you see with a lot of facilities like that is they tend to lean a little bit more, or definitely a lot more local in usage, and they limit their tournament play just because the local demand and league play is so strong. They don't necessarily need to do tournaments in the winter months to make ends meet.
well, Matt, this was great to get you. This is really kind of what we were looking for, is just to kind of understand kind of this, where we are in the Fox Cities, kind of a look at some of these great facilities, and then just a look at how you came here and how you became part of the community and kind of what you're doing, what your story is. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This has been great. It's always great to talk to you guys. I am a long play product of sports tourism. So I played in tournaments in the Fox Cities as a kid. Always liked it. I have no family here. Went to school in La Crosse. Lived in the Twin Cities. When we were starting to look for a place to raise our family, we said, we always like the Appleton area. It's always been a nice area to visit. My wife's from Stevens Point. I'm from the Sheboygan area, and this is kind of middle ground. But we had no family here. I had some friends that lived in the area, and everyone spoke highly of it. We always liked visiting them, and so we had a positive experience, playing sports in the Fox Cities as a kid. And 20 years later, we moved here and now live here, and been here for 14 years. So it took us a while to get here, but we got here.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I appreciate all you do. There is so much going on here, and you're just a big part of all of that. I'm just going to put a plug in. I think you should get some lacrosse tournaments here. But, my kid only has like 3 or 4 more years of high school, so you can work with Mikey Zadraga.
I would love to I'll say bring back a lacrosse tournament, because we had one. I don't know if you were around. We had one for 1 year. We had 39 teams at USA Youth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that was a great weekend.
I thought it was a really good event.
Heck yeah.
There's a lot of things at play there that are limiting us.
Yeah.
From making that happen again.
I mean, but yeah.
I promise you, if we can get a lacrosse tournament off the ground, I will push for it.
Thank you very much, Matt. We appreciate you being on.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite. It's great talking to you guys, and keep up the great work.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, this week we are going back to the Throwback with a preview to March Madness, which is coming up very shortly. We get to sit in front of our TVs and pretend that we're sick so we can watch basketball on Thursday and Friday, or we pretend that we're working at work while we watch basketball on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
The 14th and 15th. So
some say that's the best time of year.
To preview that, we are going back to what year, Joe?
No, Tosh, you threw me off with a tough question. Let's go with 1993, Tosh. 1993.
1993. And we are looking at Lou Carnesecca, who was the winningest coach in St. John's history. In fact, in 1993, that was the year after he was elected into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 1992.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, Tosh, when he was at at St. John's. Those were the teams that was in the wheelhouse when we were watching. At least I was watching college basketball. Those mid-'80s teams when you had Georgetown with Patrick Ewing, and you had, you had Rollie Massimino running around, and you had all the teams.
Some legends,
Dukes in North Carolina, and the games were just unbelievable. College basketball games. And yeah, he was Lou Carnesecca was just one of those characters. I mean, the coaches, basketball kind of more than anything, in college basketball really more than anything, the coaches are almost the characters, aren't they, of that sport. And Lou had a distinct face with those glasses and just a short little guy. And yeah.
And I mean, didn't realize until I was looking at he's still alive. He's 99 years old. Just had his birthday, January 25th.
Yeah.
So 99 years old, still around. And he had some, probably one of the more famous NBA players for coming out of St. John's was Chris Mullin, who went on to have a decent NBA career as well. So you're going to enjoy this, Lou Carnesecca. And if you remember those times, you're our age, and it was a fun episode.
Tosh, when you told me that he was still alive, I almost dropped dead myself. I thought Lou was old in 1985. Lou is 99. Unbelievable. But yeah, he was here at the Red Smith Sports Award banquet in 1993 at the Paper Valley Hotel. Jerry Kramer received the Red Smith Award that year. Steve Palermo, who has a great story, we'll tell that here in the next couple of weeks for sure. He received the Nice Guy Award, and then Lou Carnesecca was the main speaker that year. So yeah, sit back and enjoy Lou, and don't forget right below you there, hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, enjoy Lou Carnesecca.
Red Smith Sports Awards Banquet Throwback.
The Red Smith Award, of course, goes to someone who has made some unique contributions to sport in Wisconsin, and also epitomizes the great values that Red Smith exhibited.
Let's give a Red Smith welcome.
We're very fortunate tonight to have one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time in the history of basketball in the United States to be our speaker. A big hand to Mr. Lou Carnesecca.
Thank you, Bob. I don't want to say this has been a long evening, but when it started, Franklin D. Roosevelt was president. I was so fortunate to work with a great, great coach. You all remember Coach Lapchick as a great strategist, as a great tactician. But he was a man that only had an 8th grade education, but he had that rare ability to get diverse personalities and have them blend together. So to Coach Lapchick, I'll be forever indebted. And I can remember my first whack at the big time. You guessed it, we're playing Georgetown, that same Georgetown that's caused me all these problems all this year. And I can still remember that night. McDonough Hall, places jumping, going wild. And we have a little ritual. Before we start the game, we'll usually put our hands together and we'll say a little prayer like, Our Lady of Victory, pray for us. Now, I'm not going to say that I was nervous or shook up. When we put our hands together, I started to say, oh my God, I'm oddly sorry. Thank God, Bobby Max hits a jump shot in the overtime. We go on to win, of course. Then I went on with the New York Mets, what I call the purgatorial period of my life. Talking about athletics, and that's why we're here this evening. It's often maligned. You hear sports, often criticized. But all of you have competed sometime in your lives in athletics. Can you think of a better training ground than playing sports? Where in this world do our youngsters learn how to take orders and not sulk? Where do they learn to take suggestions from their teammates and not get upset? Where do they learn to sacrifice, to give of themselves when the coach says, tonight I don't want you to shoot. I want you to make the pass. I want you to play defense. And another important thing, where in this world do you learn to live with adverse calls? And you and I know they call them. Believe me, it used to cost me $75 a whack, tax-free, when I was coaching pro ball. And what about when you win? Are you gracious? But I think the most important thing you learn about athletics is what about when you get beat? What about when you get defeated? Do you have the guts to get off that deck and come back the next day? I know we don't like to be winners, so help me God. If I'm on that operating table, I pray to God that that surgeon is a winner, right? Now, we're talking about winning and losing. And, of course, it's always very, very important. And we know that. But sometimes we're not going to win. Sometimes we're going to get beat. Why not give the other fellow credit? He deserves it. You talked about Mr. Lombardi, Jerry. And I can't tell you, how many times I think of him, He was a Brooklyn fella, coached at St. Cecilia's in New Jersey. But he was famous for saying a couple of things which still stand today. He says, talent is not enough. You have to work hard. The second thing is you have to get along with people. And he was so right. And he mentioned something else, though, pressure. And I can't tell you how correct he was. Ladies and gentlemen, I think many times you hear a player say he choked, he lumped up. I think that's one of the unkindest things that ever can be said. Because put that certain player in that certain situation, on numerous occasions, he's going to come through. Especially when they're rookies. Of course they're nervous. Of course they're going to flunder. But put that guy in that same situation, he's going to come through with flying colors. Ladies and gentlemen, you have this affair, and it's no doubt, it's been a huge success. And why? Because of athletics. It's one of the greatest common denominators there is. We're all here to pay tribute, yes, but because we really love sports. Now, the victories, the defeats, they're going to be forgotten. But just think of all the marvelous relationships you built up with your friends, with your children. Why? Because of sports. I certainly hope that you'll never lose this feeling, because the cordiality, the warmth that is here this evening, I hope that will last a lifetime. I thank you for your support. I salute you, and I wish this program continued success. Thank you very much.
Folks, it's that time again, once again, for It's Forgotten and I'm Never Forgetting. So, Tosh, what are you forgotten in your world?
Well, Joe, I want to forget how impatient our world has become. In the famous words of Ferris Bueller, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around every once in a while, you might miss it. And I'm afraid people are trying to move a little bit too fast, flashing headlights on the highway and, standing next to you in the self-checkout, pushing you along and trying to get you done. And I just, the impatience of our society right now is at an all-time high. I think people, like Ferris said, you just need to stop and look around and enjoy what you're seeing and take it in.
I live
Not
that way
be so
now,
impatient.
Tosh. I agree. Stop and smell the roses, right? Isn't that a saying?
That is, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we need to, relax, as Aaron Rodgers once said to the Packer fans, right?
Yeah, and he was correct. But no, there's a lot of truth in that, Tosh. I try to I take that in a lot. I try to concentrate on that. And that really does, it makes life a lot better because, I don't know, you got to pull the humor out of how to just don't take stuff so seriously, right? Stuff happens, right? Stuff happens.
Right.
In fact,
enjoy yourself. Absolutely.
For sure. In fact, Tosh, it's almost, you and I did not plan this, but mine actually tags right along with yours. And in fact, it gives an example of, I think these folks implemented what you said and they didn't freak out, but it's, I went out to dinner on Saturday night, and we had a young server talking to her. She was just out of high school, but really, really nice girl. I think she's going to have a great career. She had a great personality. You know, she took it serious. She just knew how to talk to people. In fact, Tosh, she said something that you and I always say about she likes to have conversations. And I thought I was kind of blown away by somebody 18 or 19 years old saying that. But anyway, she, you know, won a powder day, and there was a table next to us with a young family. And Tosh, I do forget this because you and I have both been servers, bartenders, whatever, back in a previous life. And I'm sure this has happened to us. And this is what's forgotten for me was that life. But it came screeching back to me because she spilled a drink right down the back of the little boy. And the family handled it beautifully. They did not freak out. You know, I could tell she was rattled. It was just, you know, it happens to any server. It is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I, as you were telling the story about stopping to smell the roses, this family the kid handled it great. You know, it was a bad situation handled really well. And it reminded me that I had forgotten that I was a server or a bartender at one time. And I'm kind of glad I have great memories and met a lot of great people. I'm glad I'm not that anymore. So I'm glad that's forgotten.
Yeah.
Well, with every forgotten Tosh, you know, we're never going to forget something. So what are you never forgetting?
Well, today, which is February 25th, when we're recording this, which is a Sunday, there was a really cool event, and the Chicago Blackhawks retired a number of Chris Chelios.
Nice.
Chris Chelios was may truly be one of the best American players ever. And I was just thinking back watching this about watching Chris Chelios play, because Chris Chelios grew up in Chicago. He played for the Badgers. Then he went on and spent a number of years with the Canadians. Obviously, 9 years with the Blackhawks that they retired his number. Then another 9 years with the Red Wings. And then still came back and played another year with the Atlanta Thrashers, which people may not remember that team, but then got into, you know, front office and coaching and stuff. But truly a great American player. He was great with the Badgers, played on the 1984 Olympic team. Just, you know, he was an awesome player to watch. And I remember watching him growing up. So, you know, those childhood players that you get to see, you don't want to forget those times watching those guys while you were growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you recognized that. Yeah, that is cool, right? To see a player, a Hall of Fame, one of the best ever to play, just to see his career start to finish and get to enjoy it. Yeah, that's a special thing. I love that about sports, and you know, that's one of the great things. So yeah, that was cool. I saw some of the clips of that, and that was cool to see. The Barstool Chicago guys, they talk about him all the time. So it's tip of the cap to him.
And it also worked out for the Blackhawks. I mean, talking about having record numbers tickets today, Patty Kane came back with the Red Wings playing, and it was his first game back in Chicago after he got traded. So there was a huge thing going on there. So yeah, what a weekend for Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, this was a huge day today with Patty Kane coming back and then Chris Chelios getting his number retired. So Joe, what about you? What do you never forgetting?
Well, Tosh, I'm never forgetting, and again, my male relatives, they've had, and in this incredible weather that we've had, the maple syrup has been running, Tosh, and the bags are filling, and I'm never forgetting. I had one great weekend, and this was years ago of making maple syrup, and if nothing else came out of that weekend, it opened my eyes to the fact that actual maple syrup from a tree is the most wonderful taste maybe ever in the whole entire world. It's not Aunt Jemima or whatever else we have, Log Cabin, whatever else name brand is out there. That's what I grew up on. That's what I thought maple syrup was. And no, it's not.
Corn syrup.
Yeah, exactly. So I am never forgetting, Tosh, the process of making maple syrup, but just real maple syrup, Tosh. And it's never thought I'd say it here close to the end of February here now. Maple syrup is running and going. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and hopefully they have a good season. They need warm days and cold nights.
Yeah.
So hopefully the temperature keeps dropping at night and then warms up during the day and should be a good year for those maple syrup harvesters.
Yeah, I hope so. It sounds like we have another week of it coming up here, so let's go. Let's go.
Yes, we do.
Well, Tosh, that was It's Forgotten, and I'm never forgetting. Hum to hay, and another good episode. It was a pleasure to talk to Matt again, and always fun to listen to a good old Red Smith Banquet throwback. So always a hoot,
Absolutely.
Tosh. Always a hoot.
Till next week. Thank you for listening to another great episode of the Newsa-Cast. We'd really appreciate it if you hit up our social pages, subscribe, like, follow, and don't be afraid to engage. Head over to our YouTube channel to get exclusive content like the full interviews and speeches from the past Red Smith banquets.
Thanks for listening to the Newsa-Cast. We really appreciate your support. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and tell a friend. A huge thank you to Diggstown for all the music in today's episode. Catch a gig or find them on Spotify. Help us grow by subscribing wherever you get your pods or sharing the Newsa-Cast. Follow us on Facebook, X, TikTok, or Instagram. One of the best ways to help us grow is to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Northeastern Wisconsin Sports Advancement is a 501c3 organization. Our mission is to raise money, provide support, and bring greater awareness for youth sports organizations in Northeast Wisconsin. We do this primarily through the Red Smith Sports Award Banquet and the Newsa-Cast. Each year, we give back to the community through 3 initiatives: the Every Kid Plays Grant, the Gives Back Initiative, and scholarships to student athletes.